Welcome to Living Local. I'm Gail Kvistad, your guide, and we're out here in Limoneira, Lemon Lands, and we're going to meet Alex Teague, his great-great-grandfather and great-great-great-uncle, and pioneers in the lemon business, and helped to establish California as the largest citrus producer over 100 years ago. His family planted these trees. Let's go meet him. Hello, Alex.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, and it's
Excellent.
a pleasure to be out here in Limoneira.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And now you really grew up here, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Born and raised in the citrus game, and since I was 12 and wanted a new Schwinn bicycle, here's a hoe, go hoe weeds.
Well, that's an incentive, isn't it? And this company, having been here 128 years, we're standing in the fields and on soil that your relatives actually planted.
That's correct. Actually, where we're standing right now is the original 413 acres that were purchased, and this was one of the first blocks that was planted to lemons in 1893.
Okay, so why lemons? How did they know to do lemons?
Yeah, so the other co-founder with Wallace Hardison was Nathan Blanchard, and he was the studier and the traveler of the group. And he, at that time, 95% of the lemons came in from Italy. Given the Mediterranean beautiful climate in Ventura, you could plant a lemon just like they have in Italy, particularly southern Italy, and it should grow the same. And that's what he did. So he imported some lemon rootstock, planted it, and this was his first project. And he brought Wallace Hardison, who was a wildcat oil guy, and they got together and they bought this, and that's what they started.
And here it is, our own little Italy.
That's right.
It's actually, the name came from Portuguese,
It
right?
did.
Now tell us about that.
It did. So Blanchard was a traveler and a very educated man. And so everything else around here had a Spanish derivative.
Right.
And so he wanted just a little bit of change on that. So he decided Limoneira, which is lemon lands in Portuguese.
Oh, and this is Lemon Lands, and we're
Yes, it
so
is.
thankful to your ancestors.
So they had to bring people in, and to attract people, we were one of the first companies, if not the first, to give employee housing. And even now we have fourth and could be pretty close to fifth generation workers out here, not just those of us that through family connection.
Well, let's travel along a little bit down the road of history and go to your visitor center.
This is really cool. So this building was originally the country store, the good old country store, because at one time we had pretty close to 1,500 people. And when you have 1,500 people, you got a lot of needs, right? Daily needs.
Wow.
It's not like they had Amazon delivery back in 1893. And town, which is only 4 miles away now, that was a long ways back in the day.
How would you get there? By horse?
Yeah, by horse, of course.
Wow, of course,
So,
by horse.
of course. But what we would have here is they'd have basically all your needs, everything from boots. I mean, you can see it actually back on a picture there. Boots, milk, eggs, your daily goods, flour, sugar, the whole thing that you would find at your corner market. They would have it here, and it's quite active.
So in addition to doing lemons, you are a market and a store.
Oh, absolutely. You got to take care of the people. You always have to take care of the people. And the company truly is just as much about the employees here as it is about the founding people and the founding families that do it.
So this is the original boardroom table. It
That's
says
correct.
from the 1890s.
It was.
This table.
Remember, when you start with bare land, you don't have any cash flow. So they had to do different row crops. We've counted up over 160 items that have been growing on these lands over the last 128 years. So you had a lot of discussion on who's going to contribute what money and what value among the men behind us. Both my great-great-grandfather and great-grandfather are in this book.
Let's take a look up
Sure.
here at these gentlemen.
So Wallace Hardison here, we mentioned he's the oil cat. He was an interesting fellow, quite a character as I understand it. And he tried many different things. If you can imagine, he started Union 76, which was 76 independent oil drills. And along with Nathan Weston Blanchard, who's really the founder of it. He was the mind thinker, complete different personalities.
Really?
A very educated introvert for the most part, but not too introvert, but I just mean he was a studier. probably did not visit the bar very often.
No.
The other side was the oil cutter.
And he
So
was
you
at
had-
the bar quite
he
often.
was. So as they started, Mr. Blanchard was elderly, so he really couldn't do a lot of work. And so Wallace had a suggestion that he had a nephew in Kansas farming potatoes. He didn't have a dime to his name, and so he called his nephew, Charles Collins Teague, which is my great-grandfather, out to start doing work here. He was 23 when he arrived.
23 years old, and he came out here on a whim.
Somewhere around 1897, CC had moved up to being general manager of the Limoneira company at a young age. And Hardison, who had a number of children, but he had to go explore. And so he took
Wanderlust.
he called him on a Sunday evening. He says, "You're now in charge." In fact, I think some of the smartest things CC did was he discovered Charles McKevitt had 2 unmarried daughters. So he married one of those daughters.
And kept it
Smart
all
business plan.
in the family. And that was your great-grandmother. Great-great-grandmother.
Yeah. At the same time, the Edwards family came in the gold rush and found gold in Northern California, and they came down and settled in a grocery store, a general merchandise store in Santa Barbara, 2 brothers, and Samuel Edwards was one of those, and that's our CEO, Harold Edwards, great-great-grandfather as well.
And so you both have come from this family tradition.
Right.
And both of you working here together now.
We are. We both went working other places in the world, but came back to take Limoneira from a great tradition to the international company that we are now, and continue to grow in that direction.
And congratulations on doing such a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, and thank you.
Yeah. No pleasure.
Well, stay tuned for more Living Local.